Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Sackhoff Show, and thank you for listening. I'm a little under the weather, so this is going to be a really interesting intro and hindsight. I've been in bed sick for 2 days, and I just started getting like a flop sweat. So I don't know what that means. I think it means we've got limited amount of time. So I am so excited for the interview right now. This person is someone that I've known for many years, but I didn't know how. I think I asked him to be on the podcast to literally figure out how I know Joel McHale. And I asked him. So that's a fun little thing. I'm really excited about this, you guys. Joel is like a jack of all trades. He's so good at everything that he does. And you, of course, know Joel from The Soup or The Talk Soup. You also, if you don't know of the show Community, you live under a rock. And his new show, Animal Control, is absolutely hysterical. I tried to audition to be one of the animals in the interview, and it didn't go very far. But they have my phone number. If they want me, they can call. I'm excited, and I'm excited for the hindsight because I really want to talk to you guys about the Mailsack, or in the sack with Katee, whatever we're calling it. We don't know. The suggestions have been amazing, and I can't wait to get to that as well. So I'm going to get out of your way before I throw up, and then I'll see you back here for the hindsight. Enjoy my friend, Joel McHale. This is all new to me. I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
This is a nice setup.
Thank you so much. I got
Comic-Con money spent well.
No.
It sounds great.
Okay. And our volumes are good?
I never sit in here, so this is great.
It's kind of nice to see what we're going to find in here.
Just a lot of shit packed in here.
Is this all just stuff that people have given you, though?
A lot of it. I still have a DVD collection.
I mean, who doesn't?
And then my swords. Yeah.
You have swords?
Yep.
And a dummy? Well, a puppet?
Yeah, that was from Happy Time Murders. And then I went on Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah?
And I hit bankrupt like 6 times to the point where they were like, congrats.
They felt bad for you?
Here, take the thing. You've put a curse on this show.
Please leave. Please go.
Nothing better than have a dyslexic person on a show where you have to work out spelling.
You're dyslexic?
Not better, but not that you get better, but I've made a lot of workarounds. But yeah, sitting there trying to guess word puzzles.
When you're dyslexic?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, no, I went on there and I was like, this is not going to go well.
Is that why you went on there? It wasn't going to go well?
It was for charity, and I was like, I'm not going to not go on Wheel of Fortune.
Of course.
And Pat Sajak was very nice. Betty White, not Betty White. Betty White was filling in for
Betty
Vanna.
White was awesome.
It was weird.
She wore the dress and everything.
Yeah, I thought she had died. And she was lovely. No, it was, and Paul Rubens was on there with me, so that was pretty great.
That's fun.
And Nicole Bauer, and also great. And she had broken her ankle, so she couldn't stand. And I was like, one guy can't read. Nicole can't stand. Paul, because he grew up watching the show, so he was like, it was the only thing my mom and I watched. So I'm like, Paul, I'm sorry we're ruining this amazing experience for you. And he's like, oh, Joe. Also in the movie Blow, which we were talking about before record.
We talked about the cocaines.
The cocaine movies.
We did.
Some of my favorites.
As it related to ADHD medication, not really. Not really.
Right.
No.
I can't.
No.
Yeah. I've only had cocaine in my eye. I tore my pupil, and that's what they put in my eye.
They legitimately used it as like a treatment plan?
Yeah.
Cocaine.
Liquid cocaine. And I was like, oh yeah.
Because did it dilate it?
I don't know what it did. It helped. And then I just began humming the tune of Miami Vice.
As you do.
Thank you, Dr. Pablo Escobar.
Is there anything you wouldn't do for charity?
No, pretty much everything. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything.
I don't think I'd murder someone.
Oh, I didn't realize you were saying like that. No, I'd murder someone for charity.
depending on
Yeah,
what
if
the
it
charity
was for
was.
the kids.
For the kids. Because you actually do have a lot of charitable work.
I
Like,
do
you
do a lot.
of
I guess I
charitable work.
do. But it's really just to promote me.
Yeah.
So
Makes you look good.
yeah, no, sometimes I do enjoy it. And I usually have to stand up in front of them and say something, and that's my favorite thing because I need attention all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why I have 3 dogs.
To pay attention to you?
So they will,
And
but
kids?
they only pay attention to my wife.
But then again,
Bing!
I was going to say...
Like that dog is facing the other, usually it's a
direction.
cat. Come here, bud.
With his one eye.
He's like, meh.
He's like, let me out. There are people in the yard that I need to deal with.
How many pets do you have now?
Right now, 2 dogs and a fish.
What kind of fish?
A loach that won't die.
Do they get along with the dogs? Does a fish?
Yeah.
Yeah. A loach that won't die.
This loach is like 12 years old. Supposedly they only live for like 5 years. I don't know what's happened.
You're Dr. Doolittle.
It was a gift that my ex gave me at one point. I don't know why, but got it for me, and it won't die. And I can't kill it.
No. Oh, well.
There's not enough meat on it to justify that killing.
And so you drove that loach up from...
Drove it in a bucket with an air hose in it, and my poor husband had to carry it into the Airbnb when we got halfway. Like, yeah,
You
for a loach.
married very well.
I did. He's Canadian.
That you didn't put the loach in the... Like, I guess it's not salt water.
No,
Fresh
it's regular
water?
fresh water.
I was going to say you could have put it in the ocean. That would have died immediately. Maybe there was a lake around
We
here.
had a fountain in our front yard, and he was trying to convince me to leave it in the fountain. And I was like, I'm not putting
You probably
a loach
put chlorine in that fountain. To keep the algae out of it.
Probably could have kept it in the LA River, and by the time it got out, it would have been used to like brackish water or something.
Well, what's the loach's name?
Loachy.
It's a very creative name.
Yeah, thought so.
How big is Loachy?
It was about 7 inches now. It's huge.
You could, well, no, guess you can't really put him in the Columbia. I don't know.
No. I downsized his tank to stop him from growing because he just kept going.
And keeping Loach is like a grudge match with the fish to be like, I'm going to outlive you?
At this point, yeah. At this point, he'll like be at my daughter's graduation.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
That's all right.
Okay, so here's the reason why I really wanted to talk to you. I have no idea how we know each other.
I know how we know each other.
How do we know each other?
We met, I met you at some event. And you and, who's that tall, blonde, ugly lady?
Trisha Helfer. Horribly ugly. I understand that.
You guys were together at something, and I basically accosted you going, you have no idea how big of a fan I am of the show. And
yes,
it was like...
It's coming back to me.
Well, it was like some of many events. Trisha was married at that point.
Yes.
And you were with this was like 2006.
I was with
2007-ish.
My ex Scott, who got me the Loach.
And then I was literally on a special for Battlestar to talk about how much I liked it.
Really?
And so then I would see so there wasn't ever like, you both were on marlin fishing, and that's you were put on the same boat. There was nothing like that.
There was nothing like that.
It was just me going like, ugh. And then I think, did you come on the soup?
No, I didn't. Because I questioned whether or not I did.
Right. Trisha did.
I'm sure she did.
And I think, no, I think that was maybe, no, Jamie. I thought for a moment Jamie Bamber came on. But I don't think he did.
The way that Sci-Fi Universal would sort of distribute the press things for us during Battlestar was very strange. Like how every once in a while, you would end up someplace and be like, why am I here and they're not here? And then they would end up on a show. And so it doesn't surprise me that like 1 or 2 of the people came on.
Yeah, I worked for the old NBC Universal for a long time. And I agree. I was like, wait, who wasn't asked to do the event, whatever event it was? And your show went bananas with popularity. And we on Community, we had, I think that at that point, the network was like actively, well, they were hoping to cancel it every season. But so we would only go to Comic-Cons.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys went to Comic-Cons for Community?
Yeah. And then...
that is so weird.
Yeah. That's when we knew the show was popular. Like we knew, we have an audience. Because that Hall H, like...
Yes.
We were in Hall H and I was like, you all like the show.
Battlestar didn't even get to Hall H.
Wow.
We were never in Hall H. The first time I was in Hall H was for Riddick. And I was like, oh my God, this is so many people.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't, that's hard to, that was them actively trying to stop.
It's been 20 years. I don't really remember. Maybe we were in Hall H and I don't think so.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I like to think you were in Hall H.
Thank you.
But that all said, so I think it's just, I slowly wore down different members of Battlestar Galactica when I would see them at events. And I'd be like, hey, this big white guy loves you. And that's, yeah.
So that's how we met.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then...
Because we've never worked together.
Never worked together. But then Pacific Northwest connection.
So that's another crazy connection because you and I have, because you're from sort of Washington and I'm from Oregon. And I'm always so intrigued how people end up in this industry from what I view as like small towns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think also the Northwest through up until it really exploded in the 90s was, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was always kind of considered just a place where they make planes and...
Yeah. And Nike and Intel.
And that was it. Yeah.
But not creatives.
No.
They
just, and now we rule their lives.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, Intel, obviously, first company to make all the chips, which powered everything, obviously. Now, Taiwan has...
I don't know anything about this.
Oh, everything we're using right now has a chip that was made at in Taiwan.
Intel?
No,
or in Taiwan?
Intel kind of got... I'm sure if people from Portland are listening, Intel got the Taiwan company became much bigger, and also I'll tell. I can't believe I'm talking about chips like this, but
it's okay. It'll broaden my audience.
Intel was the forefront for a long time, and then this Taiwanese company. That's why. There's so much talk about China invading Taiwan because this company is literally the most valuable company. Like it's up there with Apple as far as value. And it's a truly global company because they have to make a bunch of stuff in like Denmark. It's all distributed around there.
Huh.
Anyway, that's why during the pandemic, you couldn't get all sorts of stuff because they stopped making them. And then everyone goes, oh shit, all the chips are made in one spot. So we got to, that's
diversify.
Why Biden did the CHIPS Act that is now...
which sounds like an act for Doritos.
Which is, or Lay's, send me free chips.
Hey.
Anyway, that all said, that I agree about your premise of the Northwest was always considered like this little corner. Like I remember U2 would not stop in Seattle. They were like, we go San Francisco, Vancouver.
And bypass.
And skip over us.
Because there's not enough people.
And there wasn't a venue that they didn't find the Kingdome, which is
until
now,
Lumen Field.
And then then when Amazon and Starbucks and Microsoft all began to explode, everybody was like, "Ooh, it's so cool there." I'm like, yeah, you should have known. It was all just serial killers and lumber and airplanes.
It's true. My family are longshoremen. Like that is what the Pacific Northwest is.
Yeah, people do not realize how there was a long and still there's an edge to the Pacific Northwest that is dark and dirty and dangerous and that's
it never ceases to amaze me when I'm home now in Oregon that how industrial it still is. It's so industrial. And it's part of what I love about it. But Seattle has a bit of that, not as much as Oregon did, I think, because
you're right.
Oregon's on rivers and Seattle's on ocean. So I think it's a completely different industry.
And Seattle also, I mean, Portland exploded obviously with prosperity, but Seattle's changed almost in 10 years. It went from quiet, sleepy town to fucking rich, like nobody's business.
Super rich.
Yeah.
Super rich.
Everybody should. And also then, the music.
Yeah.
That whole area was, I remember thinking growing up, I was like, well, this is what happens to everybody's town. Like everyone's town just kind of gets better and you listen to all your own music. And then Gillian Jacobs was like, have you been to Pittsburgh? It only got shittier and now it's much better.
It's true. We have a phenomenal music scene, or we did, especially in the 90s. Like when I was growing up, the music scene in the Pacific Northwest was like unparalleled. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. We're the center of the universe.
Yeah. The music that was coming out of there was awesome.
There's a great book called Everybody Loves Our Town that is this wonderful pictorial chronicling that time. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to burst out crying every time I look at it. And there's a new Nirvana book that just came out. And they were from Aberdeen.
They were.
Which
right up the street from me.
Yeah. How long of a commute was it from?
So I grew up in St. Helens, which is a little closer to Washington because we're sort of like right by that Rainier sort of intersection. So probably like an hour from Olympia, Aberdeen area.
Wait, you grew up in Washington?
I grew up in St. Helens, which is across the river from like Rainier.
Okay.
Basically.
Across from, but in Oregon.
In Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. So like it's like a
How long to St. Helens?
30 minutes from Portland.
North. And how long from your town? St. Helens.
St. Helens from like Washington?
To the actual mountain.
To Mount St. Helens. So the Mount St. Helens is in Washington.
Right.
St. Helens is in Oregon.
Okay.
And so quite a ways, probably 30 minutes, I don't know. But like that mountain erupted.
Yeah.
Like a month after I was born. So, and my parents got ash like at their house, but we're nowhere near any like.
Right.
Like,
how long of a drive is it from your town to Mount Hood?
So probably an hour and a half, because from Portland, where I am now, it's like an hour.
Okay.
So add an extra 20 minutes.
There's the people listening right now is like, they're going to talk about.
They're like, you guys are going to talk about something, right?
Directions.
Anything interesting? So you take a left at the McDonald's.
Oh, okay. Great.
But so what was your trajectory like? Because you went to University of Washington, played sports.
Mm-hmm.
How did you end up here in California?
Well, I was always acting through all that time as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, like plays and tons of improv theater. And so did that for years and years and years, and then got on a show in Seattle called Almost Live, which was a locally produced sketch comedy show that went on Comedy Central for a bit before I got there and then was taken off Comedy Central, but still was this massive hit in Seattle if you had King 5 television. And it was, and I got on the cast, and I was like early 20s, like in Seattle on TV in the 90s. It was so much fun. And I couldn't read a teleprompter to save my life. But because we did live sketches, and I was like, oh, this is going to go crazy.
At that point, did you know you were dyslexic as a kid?
No, they just kept saying I was a slow starter. That's what I was diagnosed with when I was like a second grader.
What does a slow starter mean?
Well, you tell a child that they're slow.
But where does starter come from?
That was some person who was like, he's like an idiot, but he talks real good. And so there's no scientific title of that.
Did they think that it was a choice?
No, they just went, he just kind of saunters out of the blocks and then eventually starts running down the track. It did affect my life. Like I was like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to be slow at everything at first and then I'll get really good at it. I kind of thought that, which is, as a kid, you get influenced by weird things. And I just thought, no. But I always loved theater, and I always wanted to be on TV. Like, I'm like, I will, like when I had the choice to go to New York or LA, I was like, LA, because that's That's where all the TV is.
It's literally the same thing I did. I
Yeah.
was like, why would I go to New York?
Yeah.
Seems much harder there.
And
TV is in.
Yeah, and New York's the greatest fucking city. It's
course.
so great. But I was like, I think this is one step that I can remove a step. And it was only a 2-hour flight from Seattle.
From Seattle.
So I was on that show, and then I was like, I need to become good at acting. So I went to graduate school for acting for 3 years in Seattle at the University of Washington.
Wow.
And then my poor wife, because we were married in 96.
Oh my God, you guys have been together forever.
30 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You could have been a flower girl.
Oh my God.
Oh, you would have been, if you were born in 80.
90, I was 16 years old.
Yeah. You would have, you were totally, yeah. And then, we started dating when you were 14.
Wow. Wow.
That's when Sarah and I are like.
You have been together a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like, you might as well have been married for 50 years in this town.
Yeah. But when people bring that up about our town, I'm like, hey, the divorce rate's the same. Pretty much the same. Pretty much the same.
It's the
I
same
got friends
everywhere.
that are like, how do you survive down there? I'm like, you've been
divorced twice, John.
Yeah, you have all sorts of other. So I dragged Sarah down here, and I was like, just give me 5 years. If I need, after the 5 years, because we both only lived I lived as a child. I moved around a little bit, but all of our formative, she's from Seattle. So I was like, just give me 5 years. And if nothing's happening, we'll go back and I'll get a job on the radio. And then the soup happened after like 4.5. And I was like, sorry, I'm making money now.
How was the soup presented to you? Because you came down at like pursuing acting.
Yeah. I couldn't get an agent here.
Okay.
And I was on TV in Seattle. Like I have all these tapes. And I had done a few commercials and a couple guest stars of shows coming through. No one was interested. And then, so I started doing, everyone was like, enjoy all this avant-garde theater you're doing in graduate school because you'll never do it down in LA. And I joined this theater troupe from Seattle called Circle X that all they did was the most fucking out there theater of all time. And I'm like, great. So we were just doing wild nutso stuff, but that's a side note. But thank you to Jim Anside and Jillian Armanante. Gwen, you know who you guys are. Anyway, so I was able to get a commercial agent, AKA, who is here, and those guys, they literally, I sent them tapes. They're like, well, it's not a hell no. We'll give it a try. And I'm like, everyone else, everyone said no. No one would even meet. And I started getting commercials.
Wow.
And I was just like, I guess I'll just be a commercial actor for the rest of my life. And I literally thought, you're going to be the greatest commercial actor of all time.
Because back then, commercials paid really well. Like getting a national commercial back in the 90s was like scoring the jackpot. I did one OB tampon commercial. I made more money off that commercial than I did on a series that I was on.
I did an OB tampon commercial.
Did you?
No.
They offered me free tampons and I said no. Because I was like...
Why'd you say no?
Because I was
You're still getting paid.
Yeah, but I was intimidated. I was young. I was 18 years old. And I was intimidated by the idea that there was no applicator. TMI, you don't have girls. But
no.
I was intimidated by that.
You just want a couple,
so I said no.
But then did you learn, if they're offering something free, I'm just going to say
I'm going to
yes.
take it at all times.
Yes.
Forever now, I take everything. I'm like, I'll take that.
Yeah. It's a burden. I can take it all to heaven with me, right? Right?
Yeah. I'm convinced it'll be worth something at some point to someone.
When did you move to LA?
98.
So you were 18.
I was 18 years old. I was 18 years old.
What did your parents think?
My parents, I told them that I was going to move. I was an athlete as well. And I got hurt. And I kind of thought to myself, what else can I do that seems really difficult that will prove that I'm special to my dad? And I said, I'm going to be an actor.
And he was like, okay.
He was like, okay, sure, sweetheart. And so for 2 years, I stockpiled furniture. And my parents were basically like, we're going to lose her if we don't say yes. So they supported me as long as I stayed in Santa Monica Community College. And my mom drove me down at 18 and left me here. It's like dropped me off. Said, okay.
Your parents, man.
Bye.
They got some. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's different back then, though.
Yeah.
We were safer. It was, the only thing that could have killed me where I lived in Brentwood was OJ.
Yeah.
Like that was it. They dropped me off in Brentwood because they thought it was like super safe.
Where did you find a place in Brentwood?
I lived off of Barry.
But the rent must have been still bananas.
$900 a month. My parents paid my rent. That was the deal. They paid my rent. They paid none of my excitement or anything. They didn't pay. They paid my gas, my insurance, my rent, and my school. And I had to stay in school. And they basically gave me a year. They said, like, you can do this. 2 years. And that's what they did. So they dropped me off. And I got very, 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 very lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah. But I'm sure. Whenever I hear, yes. With luck, people are like, you're so lucky. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I fucking made an effort to get here.
I worked my ass off.
And I fucking invented my luck.
Yeah. It's true. Because that's what it was. It was, I did the same thing. I invented my luck and I didn't let anything get me down and I just kept fucking plowing. Yeah.
And I think everyone I know that is super talented who worked their ass off pretty much got work.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of people that like, oh, wait, did you actually, like people like, I've met a few people when they're like, oh, I think it's still going to happen for me. And I'm like, what are you doing all day? And they haven't acted in 20 years. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, you're probably not now. But when people I know that were always hustling, the hustlers always kind of worked.
I just had this conversation with my girlfriend who I'm staying at her house. I have no ego about work. I believe that like if I didn't work for a couple of years, I will find work. I will find work. Nothing's beneath me. If you're unemployed, nothing's beneath you. Work. And I think that was sort of the mentality I came here with was that.
That's why you're a drug dealer.
It's true. It supports me.
That's great.
Yeah.
But, that said, obviously, when people are talented and they have the drive, I'm just like, yes. And people are like, oh, you're so lucky. I was like, all I did was work my ass off to be here. And to the point where my wife is like, you can say no to some things. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not.
You never know. One day they'll stop calling.
Yeah, this is the affliction of actors, that you're tortured when you're not working and you're tortured by like not being able to be around my family because work's out of town is also torture. Mm-hmm. So it's one
of those weird things, like, and my husband always says this, like, please don't complain to me about being away from the family and like how hard your day was. And he said, make the most of it. Find the positive in it, because if you're not going to be positive about being away from us, then what's it for? Yeah. And I was like, okay, I get that. So
your husband needs to do some motivational speaking.
He's amazing. I don't know how. He's so young. He's like 30. How old is he now? 34 years old. And he's like, he has this like understanding of the world that is so weird that I never had at his age. This sort of just like calmness that is really cool. Very, very cool. Hi, Bubby. Are you coming to hang out now?
This is Beanbag, the one-eyed French bulldog, whom, this doesn't happen a lot.
No pressure. It's here.
It's here. I'm just going to stare at you in two-dimensional vision right now for a while.
I'm patting this spot on the couch, you guys, because I want him to stay.
No, and I remember, well, like you've worked the nutso hours, but I was like, I can't believe someone's paying me. I'm wearing makeup and getting free food and work. I mean, yeah, we're working crazy hours, but the alternative was nothing I ever wanted. I couldn't do job, a desk job or anything like that. Or,
No.
Oh, I love you, Bean.
He's so cute. But you get
Wait,
talks
how
to.
old are you? How much older are you than your husband?
10 years.
Good for yeah. Fuck yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And I only need to live, I joke. I need to, I want to live to be like 87 because he can't move on at that point. I want to live just long enough that he goes, why meet someone new? You know what I mean? Just long enough to take him off the market.
Kind of like how acting is like, maybe all the offers will dry up, but he's probably going to take off at some point.
At some point. I mean, why wouldn't he? 10 years younger, super cute, super smart.
Well,
you know?
So if you're 87, he's 77?
Yep. It might not be enough. I might have to live to 93. It might be 93.
Outlast a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you guys getting to 50 years, you'll still be super young. It's like another 20 years. In another 20 years,
we could get there.
You can get there easily.
Yeah. Like we look.
Easily.
I still go, when I get in bed, I'm like, there's a fucking lady in my bed. There's like just half naked in my bed.
In my bed.
What's happening? And then I'll like put my hand on her arm and she'll shove the dog over to me. Well, she shoves the dog over to me because that maniac will burrow into your neck.
Yeah.
He used to sleep on top of my throat, and Sarah's throat, and you'd wake up like gasping.
That's what flat-faced dogs do. Like heads, throats, chests, they like to sleep on you.
Oh, it's the greatest.
It's the best thing ever.
I did hear about someone said the most cuddly dog is the Italian Greyhound.
Is it because they're cold all the time?
Because they were bred to keep their owners warm at night. So they would always find a way to snuggle. But you don't think about a dog like that being a cushion for...
Well, no, you'd think that a dog with a little bit more girth to them, or hair, would provide warmth. Not something that's like known for running super fast and being super lean.
So this thing would snuggle at night and then go chase rabbits on the next day and hunter's friend. So I'm just declaring to my wife, Sarah, that's what's happening next. That's what we're getting.
Rabbits?
No. This guy would rip them apart.
He would rip them apart.
Yeah, he would. Like we were talking about ducks earlier, folks, or chickens. And this week, there would be just no world where this dog wasn't trying to eat them.
You know what's funny is I thought the same thing about my dogs. It takes a dog one time for being like to have a chicken come at them where they learn really quick.
Oh.
Yeah. We had our chicken, like one of them came at our dogs and they stopped.
Well, he attacks anything. Dogs, like Great Danes, he'll attack. He's going after. He killed a bird on the beach in Seattle. It was...
in front of people?
Oh, yeah. He saw... And you know what? Dog catching up to the back of the car. He caught it and just fucking head back and forth.
Oh,
Sarah was screaming.
Oh, God.
And I was just kind of... They were like a mile away. I'm like, yep, I'm sure he killed something. And Sarah's like, no, screaming.
Oh, God.
At one point, she was like, I think the bird's endangered. And I'm like, good.
Bird's endangered.
Well, yes, he's very endangered.
Now he's in danger.
Very dead.
He is in danger.
Super dead.
Yep.
Wait, did you meet your husband up in Canada?
I did. Did you guys meet at college?
Kind of. Yes, we met. I was walking home from football practice as a freshman, and she was a senior.
Ooh.
And our friend Kim Screen from Bainbridge Island, introduced us. And then I didn't see her for like 3 years because she moved to Northern Ireland for a year.
For school?
No, to bring Catholic and Protestant kids together in Belfast. So yes, did I marry a living saint? Yes.
Wow.
And that's when people were blowing each other up too. This was the early 90s. And so anyway, then we re-met at a wedding. She had just gotten home. And
Not her wedding.
No. I object. I met her 3 years ago outside her sorority.
And she gave me a look.
And she was, but I asked, then I was in a movie that her mom was an extra in and her brother was a PA, a horrible movie that was an entire feature film shot in 3 days because they asked Panavision at that point, you could just borrow a Panavision camera for a weekend and do tests. And then Panavision was like, hey, you got to send a camera back. They're like, we're almost done with this feature film. They're like, what?
Like, you're supposed to be trying out.
I mean, they were like, all right, keep it another day. Good for you guys.
Oh my God, you shot an entire feature film in 3 days.
But anyway, then I asked to, her brother brought me over. He was like, oh, I know you, and tried to introduce us. And did. And Sarah's like, I don't need to meet him. But then I called Kim and I was like, Kim, do you think Sarah Williams would go out with me? She was like, absolutely not. And Sarah, in a moment of weakness, I was like, hey, I got your number. And she was like, I'm making cookies. Do you want to come make cookies? Not a euphemism.
She literally was making cookies. You married a phenomenal person.
Yes, I got talk about lucky. Jeez. I knew when I was dating her, I was like, this is way beyond my pay grade.
Don't screw it up.
Yeah, this be good. And then I dragged her poor ass down here.
But then in the moment you were about to come up with we got to move back to Washington, you book the soup.
Yeah, which, yes. No, and I had the commercial agent at that point.
Okay.
God bless AKA. But Annie Roberts, who was the casting director for years and years and years, who's so lovely. And the other thing, I'll say about whenever people are like, Hollywood. I'm like, Hollywood is people from Ohio.
Yeah.
Hollywood is just a bunch of idiots from the rest of the country who were trying to get out of their situation or whatever state they were in. And then we all came here. And so
it's a massive transplant city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the city that everybody loves to hate.
It's true.
If I ever hear another one of my friends from New York go, I just really miss New York. I was like, you came here in 2003. You're never going back.
You don't miss New York.
No. You're staying. Fuck you guys.
It's too sunny. There's no skyline there.
No. And you're like, you think you're going to move back into an apartment and then get a place in Connecticut and then fine, great, if you got the money. But it's a long ways to go. Because whenever people like LA, I'm like, you mean the greatest city on the planet?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
But I'm like, fuck you guys for taking a shit on it because it's the most creative city ever.
I miss it.
Do you really miss it?
I do.
I do. We have so that said, Seattle is my spirit city where every sports team and every time I'm there, I bleed blue and
green
and purple and green and because I am so devoted to it. Anyway, this is a long way to say Annie Roberts brought me in for she would see up and coming comedians or commercial actors and go, they'll be good to comment on this 101 celebrity oops specials that they were putting out
right.
Well, I don't know, the makeup disasters of 2001. And then you would come in and make comments. And then she was like, you want to try out for this thing that was not this talk soup because they didn't want to remake that. It was called the What The Awards, which was a terrible name for a television show.
Terrible name.
Because they didn't want to say what the hell or what the heck. So it was just, people like, the what? I was like, the what the, yeah. So that's what it was called for and then Ted Harbert, the president, was like, we'll call it the soup. But at that point, we did a 5-minute presentation that I know the other guys that they tried out for and they're both really funny. There was numerous guys, but one of them, Matt Corboy, who's super funny, and somehow I don't know why they picked me, but I memorized 5 minutes of jokes because I couldn't read the teleprompter. And so I was well off book, and I had no agent, and they saw how cheap the show was going to be made for, and they put it on.
Was that the catalyst for you to be doing all these hosting gigs? You do more hosting gigs than anybody in this business.
I don't turn them down. I love them.
But it's wonderful. It scares the shit out of me. I have to go present at an award show. I almost throw up before I go on. I can't drink because I'm too scared, but I need a drink because I'm too scared. And so there's a happy medium. I go out, I see black, I do it, and then I leave. And I
go into a fugue state, and then someone's dead, and I don't know what's happened. And I go, I'm so sorry, officer.
Out of me. And it's like you literally, it's an art form to you.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. And people always go, if you had to choose, I'm like, well, why will I have to choose? What is this world?
Yeah,
Where people like gun to your head. Who's holding this gun?
If you had
why
to
are they shooting at me?
Between doing like being an actor or
right. Why? I was like, why do I have to make this choice? Why? Well, I don't. I always saw it as what Greg Kinnear did, which was he hosted Talk Soup, and then he got nominated for an Oscar for what is it? As Good as It Gets, and I was like, I'll do that if I can do that, and because I always liked it, and I was so like, thank God that nobody watched The Soup for a year. Because I could practice. I had so much anxiety about the teleprompter. To this day, like when Ken Jeong, when Ken Jeong and I love him so much. When we did the Emmys this year, talk about like...
Did you memorize it?
Well, we were nervous as shit, and we were going over the jokes and changing the jokes. And it's like, we kind of like, I don't know. It's not nerves. It's more just like we're getting more and more excited, but more like, here we fucking go. We're going to go down this water slide that no one's tested. And so that in those situations, I get worked up. Because
that either goes really well or really bad.
Yeah.
There's no happy medium. There's no one where they go, I mean, it was palatable.
Right. Where they go like, oh, here's the comedy part. Oh, no. And they're still going. And now it's finally over. And we were so like, there's all these like, I'm still starstruck if Harrison Ford was backstage, and I was just like,
Isn't he amazing?
I still get, he's very nice. At one point, he said to Ken, he goes, calm down. And I was like, we can't. We're going to go fucking, we're so just so fucking nervous about the jokes. And so, but like with The Soup, I got very lucky because I got to practice over and over and over.
Daily. Was it a daily thing?
No, it was weekly, but we shot all week long.
Yeah.
That, because I couldn't get an agent and I couldn't get auditions. And then somebody said, this is a popularity contest as much as it is a talent contest. And I was like, oh, right. I got to try to get popular. And so then all of a sudden.
It's like high school.
It's like high school.
It is like high school.
But also I think I don't know. Most contract law is also like high school. I think we're just like, this guy's really good at it. Oh, he is.
This guy's really great.
No, it's probably a false comparison, but then this agent that I was hip pocketed at by my high school friend Jason Burns, who was also kind of like my manager. Then he was like, "Hey, man, because he was like, I can't bring you in for a meeting before the Soup." I mean, because he's like, you don't have any heat. You're not popular. I was like, if I bring you in, no one, to his great credit, he was like, no one's going to want to sign you.
Well, it's still sort of similar in the sense that, like, I don't know if it happens as much anymore. I mean, I think it does. But like, when social media first started to like become a thing like 10, 15 years ago, legitimate actors were losing out on parts to people who had like 1 million followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
That was happening. So it still will always be a popularity contest because it's all about financing and who can finance a project and how many eyeballs are going to watch it. And that is popularity.
No, and people are like, well, these influencers are really, because they have such big, and people always shit on influencers. I'm like, they're just exploiting like we did on like something.
They're literally just making it happen.
And there was a time when you're just old enough to, but television actors did not
do film?
It didn't
happen.
It was the second class. It was the little shit brother of film always.
It was.
And then like celebrities couldn't host anything.
No.
And then fucking thank God for Ellen and for Dwayne Johnson and Snoop, who were like, fuck it, we're doing this. And I was like, oh, and that then Jamie Foxx and the pipeline kind of.
And that helped you segue into like
Well, I was told like back with the suit, because people thought, oh, you're just a host for a long time. And then thank God Dan Harmon.
And then Community happened.
And then Community happened, and Steven Soderbergh cast me in a movie, and so that changed things. But that's also when the thing was all beginning to change. And so was my, because I enjoyed them both so much. And I guess the closest thing like would be like a Steve Martin transition, going from stand up into, but it's not the same because it was always like you either do TV and like the Michael J. Foxes were the one TV exception that you get.
I always said, because I was right in that transition, and I have said that it was the Warner Brothers CW model where they started to realize that these young kids on Dawson's Creek could actually be in I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the movies would actually do well because the kids were going to see the movies. And I was in that wave of a transition where it all started happening. But the psychological damage is fucking done. Because I said to my husband yesterday, I just put myself on tape for like this project I really, 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 really wanted. And I know I'm not going to get it. And he's like, why? And I said, because I'm a TV actor. That's what I do.
Oh, yeah, you really have still. The scars are left.
It's still left. And he went, that doesn't matter anymore. And I said, but it does. It really does. Like in my mind.
It doesn't.
That's what I book is just TV. And everyone's like, but you're on Mandalorian. I'm like, TV.
Not TV. It can be projected on a TV.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you go, The Mandalorian is more popular than most movies. And still to the, but yeah, so you had to put.
But in my mind,
I'm still mad that you had to be put on tape. But
I put myself on tape. I never wanted to be. Do you put yourself on tape for stuff?
I will.
Yeah.
But I never have booked anything up.
Either have I.
No,
ever.
Never.
It's never happened. It never happened. I've got to get in the room. I've got to be like in front of someone. But I never wanted to be like the lighting guy, the camera guy, the sound guy, the director, and like put myself on tape and then like hand it in and be like, I hope I guessed right.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this.
I could not. Shows that it is a different. I don't know how it ever happens.
I don't know how. I don't know.
And then I don't know. Then fucking like with animal control, like Grace Palmer, who's from New Zealand, put herself on tape.
She's so good.
And we're like, oh, yeah. Well, she's stunning.
Yeah,
and so good at. So like, yeah, let's do it. But. Yeah, I agree. Like the Zoom auditions and the on tape it's nothing like the way. It's nothing like. Listen, kids, we used to have to drive to a room, and then there'd be people there, and they would.
And you'd have to look them in the eye and actually have a conversation.
And be like, "What's paper money? No, you need gold." So it's I've never. But I was asked to audition for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I was like, "Holy shit! Yes, of course I would." And then I got the sides, and it was one page.
Yeah,
and it was like the lead-in was like, "Hey, have you seen that guy?" Basically, and I'm like, "That guy? Yeah, that guy's over there." And there was, and I was like, "Wait, this is." I feel like I don't need to audition for this, but I'd love to do it. And they were like, "Everybody auditions for this show." I'm like, and then I was like, "I'm not doing it," because I was like, ran through not because I was like, "Oh, I got to set up a thing," and then. I got to put the phone camera. I was like, you know what? Good luck. I can't.
No, this is the benefit of marrying someone 10 years younger than you is that he understands it all. Like it makes sense in his brain. So he sets up the lights for me. He puts the backlight up. So like there's no shadow. He reads with me. He does the camera. He does the whole thing. And I'm like, thanks, babe. Can you help me upload it now, please?
And you're like, where on this keyboard?
And he's like, just give it to me. Just give it to me.
Oh yeah, you married. So well. I
married up. I really did.
Fuck. Yeah. But so going back
to Community.
No, you need to shed those scars.
Yeah. They're pretty deep at this point. They're pretty deep. I think I was one of the only people who didn't watch Community when it was on TV.
Oh, well, that was a huge number of people. Many people did not watch it.
It's like, people... It is like up there with like comedy gold that people like it is in the same, like when people talk about comedy shows that they like, they're like, I mean, it's Seinfeld, Parks and Rec, Friends, Community.
I wish we had gotten that Seinfeld money. That would be a brownstone hollowed out for my car collection.
You were like just under the radar enough.
Yeah, at the time, it was this little... As Dan called it, we were in the Vietnam of time slots.
What was your time slot?
8:00 on Thursdays against The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, stop.
And
I mean, that's where they put people. They put you there to die.
They put you to die. And I had a meeting with Les Moonves
yes.
jerking off in front of his doctor. And he literally asked me, he's like, why would they put you there? And I was like, I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine.
And every season, it was always like, can this be the season and series finale? I remember that. I'm like, thanks for the vote of confidence. And we all knew it was a good show. And I've been on things where I'm like, this is not very good. But hey, we're here. They got all the lights set up. I'm wearing all this makeup and I got a mic on. So let's do it. But we all knew it was good when it was being made. And Dan's brain getting...
Dan Harmon is pretty
The only
brilliant.
person who wasn't talented was Donald Glover. You hear me, Donald. It worked out.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know what he's done since.
He hasn't done anything since. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but we knew it was good. And then we would do like an event. And then I was like, oh, there are people who watch this show. They're showing up for these events.
I find it so interesting that they were sending you guys out to Comic-Cons. Because stereotypically, Comic-Cons were for like sci-fi shows.
Right.
Not half-hour comedies.
But Dan's brain, we had like Kick Puncher, an entire... there was always like little science fiction stories happening. Like a Kick Puncher was this character that we had that whose punches were as powerful as kicks. So he was like a cyborg. So we had and then we did all the like time, we played with time, and there was Darkest Timelines. And so like at the time when we were there were Comic-Con people like, why are you here? Like reporters. And I was like, what the fuck, why are you here?
Why are you here?
And it was like Big Bang Theory's here.
It's true.
They're not they're as much of a science fiction. We're way more of a science fiction show than they are, other than they have Big Bang Theory and they go to JPL or whatever for theirs. Anyway, the show was a cult hit. And then when streamers started, it caught on in Netflix. And that's when, I don't know, started getting caught. Like the Romanian Times would like to talk to you. And I'm like, what? Why?
15 years later.
Yeah. So it was, and the COVID was the greatest thing that's happened to community.
For a lot of shows.
The worst thing was death.
That was the worst thing. But so community, you guys obviously were on a network. You were getting residuals. What happens when a show like that sells to Netflix?
You don't get any residuals.
And they don't have to talk to you about that at all?
Well, that's why
was there like
partially the strike, So because the licensing deals that the networks or studios sell them to, they make a ton of money. I've gotten some money, which has been not
nominal.
Nothing that anyone could live on. No. I mean, $250,000 a month. Who can live on that?
Who can live on that?
I mean,
that barely pays for your assistant.
Yeah, and I was like, where am I going to get all my oysters?
I don't know. Can't get them out of the LA River.
I need that 1960 Petrus. That's a great wine.
Yeah, can't live without it.
Oh.
I am not drinking that like swill from Napa.
The Cristal needs to be opened.
Yep.
So
super chilled.
And then like my private jet needs another
new carpet,
reupholstering.
Yep.
No. So that's obviously that's why we had the strike was to get. Netflix pays really well up front.
They do.
But yeah, it's the rules all changed because it became, they were like, it's a website. And it was like, technically it is.
It's weird. The rules changed. Supposedly they're no longer allowed to require you to memorize auditions. And I was like, okay,
what?
Cool. So like, that's something someone told me.
Netflix required?
No. Like casting directors, like when you audition, like I always put my best foot forward. I memorize the audition.
Yeah.
I go in, I perform, I do it like this is what it's going to be. So supposedly they no longer, per our contract, can require you to memorize it. You're allowed to come in unmemorized. And I was like, yeah, good luck booking a job. I'm so glad we got that. That's great.
That we fought for that?
I guess so. I don't know. Someone told me that. I was like, that's the dumbest load of shit I've ever heard.
Is that because then they were like,
I need to fact check this.
Well, when they also were asking for paid auditions, like we need to be paid for auditions, I was like, you don't get paid for job interviews.
No, you know what's interesting though? My husband said Canadians get paid to test.
Oh, well, to test.
We don't get paid to test, though.
No, we don't get paid to test.
No, we do the deal up front, so you know what you're going to lose when you don't book it.
Yeah, like you buy this. Here's the lottery ticket.
This is going to change your life.
Or you're just going to...
And you didn't get it. She did.
I can understand testing. If you've gotten to that point, absolutely.
Right. I agree.
But just like getting a casting call or like...
They'll never audition anyone ever again.
No, it'll all stop.
It's so stupid.
But anyway. now I'm sure the unions are like... Or now Screen Actors Guild is like, you guys can't talk that way. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. They'll kick me out at some point. I'll say something.
I agree. And then we'll be making movies in the Maldives.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Beautiful. The scuba diving is supposed to be.
Have you been?
No, I'd love to go.
You said it like you've been there.
No, that's always my reference point or places.
Is it?
I also want to go to the Faroe Islands.
I would love to do that. I want to stay in one of those huts over the water.
Yeah.
There's in a few places.
Tahiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
Places like that.
Yeah, until the hurricane comes in.
But
I guess wait, I've really derailed this whole thing. But going back, to audition.
It's okay. It's my job to be able to put us back on track. And this is why I don't know.
This is what I do.
Even if I take my medicine, I can't. I can't.
You need to not refer to cocaine as medicine.
Should have taken the full pill today.
Look, I have my dog's phenobarbital. I always take like 4 or 5 just to, be able to exercise and not, have both eyes blink at the same time. It's what
we were talking about Community, and we were talking about Comic-Cons and how
But with Battlestar Galactica, that became obviously, how popular it became. Obviously, I mean, at Comic-Cons you can barely walk through. People are throwing their children at you. Bless this child. Bless them.
I think that it's a combination of a few things that I've done. Like it's sort of, yes, Battlestar is massive, but it became massive after the fact, sort of like Community.
Yeah.
In the sense that we were accepted in this sci-fi community, but people outside of that had not found the show yet. And it's like 20 years later, people are still just finding it, which is crazy to me.
So great.
It's such a great show. Although they tell me all the time, except the last season, which I don't know. I need to watch it. I don't know.
Fans will walk up and go like, "It's such a great show," until the end.
Except for the end. Yeah, that end really jumped the shark. What does that mean? We jumped a shark.
Well, jumping the shark was a famous Happy Days episode where Fonzie was water skiing in Hawaii, and.
Okay. And he jumped a shark?
He jumped a shark, which then became slang for when a television show goes off the rails and stops being any good. And or it's like, oh, no, they fucking ruined it. And
they ruined it.
Right.
They jumped a shark.
So in Community...
Do you ever jump the shark moment?
Well, there's a joke. We have a jump the shark season almost, but Troy, Donald Glover's character, someone was like, he jumped the shark, or this jumped the shark, and they're like, "What does that mean?" And then Troy goes, "You mean the greatest episode of Happy Days ever?" And that was how Dan put the joke, which was a great joke.
I had no idea where that came from. Thank you.
It is an old Happy Days reference. Henry Winkler jumped a shark.
Henry Winkler,
and then he was in Barry, which was one of the greatest shows of the last
all time
decade.
Yeah, Henry Winkler. I see him at conventions. He is. Probably the nicest human being.
Not gregarious.
Ever.
Yeah.
He is
the kindest.
So kind. And Bryce Dallas Howard's godfather.
Oh.
Just a little bit of information that I learned through the podcast.
Speaking of Happy Days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that guy's reputation is incredible.
Incredible.
And what a performance he put in Barry.
In Barry. Yeah. Robin, my husband, loves that show. I've never seen it.
It's a masterpiece.
Is it?
Yeah, it's worth every. I mean, there's everything fires on all cylinders.
Huh.
And it's about they also nail like struggling actors in Hollywood.
Because he is a struggling actor in the show, right?
Yeah, you could just do a separate series without any of the Hitman stuff about how well they nail actors who are, trying to make it.
Huh.
Yeah, I recommend it. So anyway, back to back Battlestar Galactica.
To back. But
no, but then it took off.
It took off.
And then you made millions in residuals. See?
I love it. I want to be on a show that goes into renegotiation. You know what I mean? Have you ever had the benefit of a show that like your contract runs out and then it keeps going?
Yeah, well, The Soup.
The Soup, right?
Yeah.
Because that was 11 years. You did that.
Yeah,
for 11
and
years.
we had to renegotiate every 2 years.
It's amazing.
So that was good.
It paid for the pickleball court.
Yeah, fuck. We don't have a pickleball court. Just a tennis court.
God.
What a dick.
So I thought you were legitimately kidding about having a tennis court.
Oh, no.
You have a real tennis court.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why we... I was like, this is... Because I wanted to have a place. I wanted to have a pool. I was like, if I live in LA, I want a pool.
Yeah,
we live by the beach.
We had. You have to have a pool.
I mean, that's the greatest. Like, oh, you can walk to the beach? Yeah, we got a pool. It's so good.
Because who wants to go in the ocean?
Yeah, and I wanted a place to shoot a basketball. And then this place came up and I was like, oh, yeah, this is awesome.
It's awesome.
We'll take it.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah, we're so lucky.
Yeah, so I mean...
This is what I will say. This was luck. And of course, I had to make the money to pay for it. The home I'm in.
But but at some point, you guys think you're going to move back to Washington.
Oh, yes.
Do you think you will legitimately?
Sarah wants to. I'll be like, yeah, sure, yes. We'll get there sometime. Right, Sarah? I do love it there. But, like it's weird now that we've put down such deep roots here. Like we know, like all of I have a ton of friends up there, but I also have tons of friends down here I don't know, maybe when we're 87. No, Sarah's like, no way. But we do want to spend more time up there, but our silly jobs.
Yeah.
Not as much works here. I'm always like, not everything works out of town, but it's like, I know the studios are full, but runaway production is, so I don't know. I spend most of my time in Georgia or Vancouver.
Of course you do. We all do.
Yeah.
What is it about?
And Toronto next week.
Washington, Toronto. What are you going to Toronto for?
Crime Scene Kitchen.
Oh, that's right.
Season 3.
Season 3.
So I'll be testing a lot of desserts.
Well, I want to talk to you about food.
Yes.
Because I jokingly said to you the other day that I feel like you're trying to offend all vegans on your Instagram. Is that like a choice or do you just like not give a shit?
I don't. Look, their life choices are fine and they can do what they want to do. But if A5 Wagyu Japanese beef is on this planet, I'm going to eat it.
It's very good.
Yeah. I got friends that are vegetarians that they were like, what are you trying to do? And I was like, come on over for a barbecue if you like.
You can bring your mushroom.
Then they'll be like, it's bad for the environment. And I was like, you know how much water it takes to make an almond?
Yeah, too much. Shouldn't be growing them in California.
Yeah.
But you love food. Is that how you got into hosting food shows?
Well, I do. Whenever a food show is offered, I go on. I do everything I can.
Yeah.
And I still regret not being able to do this David Chang show last year. I'm like, if I just had the time. I think that's what Fox asked me. But it's funny because I don't know much about the world of fine desserts.
Okay.
And I always, this is going to sound, but I always thought that, like cake and stuff, I was like, it's fine. I could take it or leave it. And then they started preparing like a freaking opera cake or a princess cake and a well-made, they are so good.
So good.
It's crazy.
Yes.
And then you're like, because Curtis was like, well, basically modern fine dining was invented by the French.
Yes.
That's why there's so many, because the kings were like, I want a piece of art that tastes terrific.
Yes.
And if you don't, I'll kill your entire family. And they did it. And I gained 9 pounds each season I've done it. So I've been starving. That's why I didn't have a biscotti this morning.
You didn't?
No, I was like...
It was very good.
Yeah, it's from Proof Bakery.
You missed
one of
out.
the greatest bakeries on the planet in Atwater Village. And people don't know that LA secretly has insane baking.
Phenomenal food. Just phenomenal food in California.
Yeah,
and
I
anything
agree.
you could possibly want is here. You can find it.
That's what Anthony Bourdain said. LA is the most exciting. LA area is the most exciting place for food on the planet.
People ask me what I miss about California the most. And even though Portland has a phenomenal. Culinary experience, there are things you can't find.
Yeah.
And I like the availability of choices. And that doesn't exist in Portland.
You're not going to find probably the greatest Azerbaijan made food or Uzbekistani food.
No. No. And if you are, they're only open Wednesdays.
Yeah. And when people, like, I'll get into stupid arguments with people like, well, Seattle's the best sushi out of any city. And I was like, LA's pretty good.
LA's pretty awesome.
And they're like, well, it's not LA. I was like, no, you clearly haven't been here.
I mean, we also have a fish market. So there's everything in Los Angeles. I say we. I don't live here anymore. But
how long ago did you leave?
9 months.
Oh. Hun, I'm going to travel down to LA now and do a podcast for a couple of weeks. Is that cool, Hun?
I do. I come back more. I feel like I'm in LA more now than when I lived here.
And your husband's like, we did move to Portland.
We moved our life.
Yeah.
And I'm here all the time.
How often do you go away for Comic-Con stuff?
Right now, like every third weekend, I think. Every third weekend. It provides me the flexibility in my career to not have to take work and be much more selective with what I want to do.
Absolutely. When people like, is that something you want to do? I'm like, yeah, it sounds great.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It pays, and you get to meet a bunch of people that like you and tell you you're great and they want to be there. And it's like, great.
It's great. You feel bad about yourself? Go to a comic book store or Comic-Con. That's all you need to do. I would kill for a hosting job, though.
Oh, well.
I don't know how these things like come about.
Well, I think you're doing the right thing.
This?
Yeah. Start by this. And then you'd be like, oh, she keeps the ball in the air. She's good at talking. And I get, if you have agents, a lot of them, I'm sure.
I actually don't right now.
Oh.
My agency went up in smoke. Literally just like went, as of Monday morning, no longer have an agent. That was about a month and a half ago.
What agency is that?
I was with A3.
Oh.
Abrams.
Was it sold or just?
No, they just there was infighting and lawsuits and this whole thing. And then it just exploded. And so I don't have an agent right now.
You need a good non-scripted agent because if people know you're like, oh, we're looking for somebody like you.
Oh.
Then you have somebody going, I got somebody who can do it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then once you do it a few times.
Yeah.
I was nervous as hell when I was first starting off doing it. And then you get used to it.
I'm not funny on cue, though.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not funny like you are.
You literally told 40 jokes in the last 90 minutes.
Have I?
Yeah. Because if I said cocaine, you're like, oh, yeah, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, I know numerous people I don't know what you speak of. I was like, what? No, I'm joking. I'm making jokes.
Yeah.
But it's not all comedy. There's all sorts of funny people that aren't necessarily the best hosts.
I have these weird moments, though, when I sit down with people that are inherently funny and that have made a living out of being funny, where I have had to try to learn to not be funny. Because I have this instinct to want to sit down and prove I can be like, and it just seems so desperate. And so I finally had to just stop trying to be fun. I just need to stop and just be myself, which is like a fool. And that's funny.
But I before you told me the psychology of it, as far as doing this podcast, the easiness that you have on mic is not something that everybody has.
Oh.
And so,
well, thank you.
Yes, we're in a room with a lot of free shit in it, but
we are.
But I wouldn't. It is a different muscle. Like when you're like, is this princess cake as good as this apple pie that you weren't? But it's in the same family, definitely. Can you be relaxed and easy and relatable? That's a lot of it. Just kind of, that's from what I've learned. Like, oh, they just need somebody to kind of, you're taking them on
On a journey.
You were going on a hike, and I'm going to be the guide. And it's sometimes it's dramatic, and sometimes it's funny. And yeah,
interesting.
The easy breeziness of this has been and continues to be very nice because it goes where it wants. As opposed, like sometimes people will be like, so then in 2017, you were on that. So how was that thing that you did? And I was like, and here's my standard answer.
And then I'm done.
Then, yeah, but that's that. I mean, yeah. So, but there's all different sort of shades of hosts and hosting.
Is there anything you haven't done in this industry that you want to do? Because I feel like you've done so much.
Well, I never turn anything down. So done.
Like, do you want to direct?
I want, every time like people like direct, I'm like, yeah, and then I don't. So maybe I don't.
Maybe you don't.
I should just go like, I definitely don't want to direct.
And make a decision.
That'll make me direct.
Probably.
I'd like to win Best Picture. We'll see. Just aim high. No,
of course, and win an Oscar.
I got to do Shark Week this few years ago. That was so much fun. I got to be on Bear Grylls' show, and I was like, "This is fucking
like the Bear Grylls, like the adventure one."
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That was so.
Was that terrifying?
I was so excited that I probably risked my life a couple times without even realizing it.
What was it about that excited you?
We had shown him on The Soup so many times, and we loved the show. But it was always so like, we always made fun of it because he'd be like, I'm going to jump out of this helicopter into this lake. I could break my legs. We're like, lower the helicopter and you'll be fine. In fact, just use a helipad.
I think there's a ladder on it.
So we were doing, we climbed out of the Grand Canyon on a rope. But,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was real. But of all the weird examples, I really don't have,
excuse you.
The dog is now just scratching himself and rolling. We're keeping the dog in here, folks, because if he gets out, he will attack.
He'll eat someone.
He'll go after something.
Or a bird.
And then look at that. He just surprised himself. He's like, what the fuck just happened?
I always love when dogs fart and they get scared. What was that?
Like, my friend had a Weimaraner that used to he would scratch the side of his face, catch his eye, think that he was attacked, and then like
and go crazy,
totally freak out, and then calm down, and then go right back. I was like, I don't know. I'd like we should be in something.
Where would be fun. But your new show right now.
You want to? come on the new show.
I would like that.
Animal Control on Fox.
I could absolutely
Have you been to Vancouver?
Play a rabbit dog.
Well, I feel like that would maybe.
Have you been to Vancouver? Have you stayed at the Sutton Place?
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of that.
I love that hotel.
It's
the Sutton. Yeah, the Sutton. Everybody at one point in the 90s was the only hotel.
It was a really nice hotel.
Yeah, it was the only hotel. Now it's all nice again. Now they've
remodeled it.
But it was the only thing in town.
It was the only game in town. You could literally go to work on a film set, know that there were other movies in town, go to the bar at the end of the night and see every actor within reason in that hotel bar.
It was
every single one.
If that had a gas leak in the late 90s and exploded, you would have killed a third of Hollywood.
Everyone. Just everyone. I loved that place. It's like a bad trip,
a lot of the
though.
operators know, like I talk about Battlestar Galactica with them, of course. They were like, everybody
knows it.
Yeah, everyone
filmed in
worked
Vancouver.
on it. Yeah.
I'm sure everyone worked on that.
Yeah, it was
a massive undertaking.
And then I make Nexium cold chokes and it's great.
And then Nexium jokes. I need to have Nikki Klein on.
Oh,
I need to have Nikki Klein on.
But
I need to dig deep on
set,
that.
I'm always just like, guys, thanks for the day. Just one more thing. Have you heard of Nexium? I would love to tell you about it.
I would love to tell you about
those
this great thing.
I'm sure you at some point were recruited.
I think that they tried and then they realized that I was like not a candidate.
You're like, that's that. Yeah.
I don't think I was a candidate for that.
I need to, there's a documentary. I'm sure there's 12 podcasts about it.
I'm sure. But yeah, I should have Nikki Klein on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should. We had a few Battlestar people wrapped up in
there was, I was talking to a couple actors. They were like, it was, such an wild time. When I remember hearing about it, I was like, what?
People are doing what?
Bunch of Canadians?
Canadians.
And I say that because I am half Canadian.
Are you half Canadian?
My mom grew up in New Westminster, and she is full Canadian.
And then the other half's like...
Chicago.
Okay. That's why your dad wants to go back to Chicago.
Yeah. Still talks about it. But then Seattle got pretty great.
Seattle did get pretty great.
He really, yeah.
Best sushi in the world.
Fucking best sushi. It's like, I love these arguments. It's like, these are luxurious arguments. And then someone's like, Vancouver is the best sushi in the world. I'm like, why can't everybody have great? No,
except for Kansas.
Seinfeld. Yeah.
Don't eat sushi in the middle of the country.
Good river sushi is.
Maybe.
I actually did have really good sushi in Missouri. And the guy was like, it flies in every day to all the sushi restaurants here.
Wow.
And he had on his phone, he was like, here are all the fishing boats that I communicate with. I'm like, okay.
Makes sense.
And I was like, if I get 4 to 8 hours from now, if I'm shitting and puking my brains out, I'm going to come find you.
I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know.
Ironically, I've been poisoned in the Northwest more than once by oysters.
By oysters.
Yeah. Fucking.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are we talking about?
I don't know. On that note.
The fact that I've not been poisoned by airplane food, because I think it's so well sanitized, I'm always like, here we go.
I just saw a thing on social media of a woman that has kept a McDonald's burger and french fries in her closet for 20 years now to prove that it's not real food. And it looks the same as it did 20 years ago. And she got the date on the bag, the whole deal to prove. And it's basically like real food rots. This is not rotting. I hope you're not sponsored by McDonald's. I'm sorry, McDonald's. I would love to do a commercial.
By Burger King. That was one of the best commercials I did was from McDonald's and Burger King. I did, fuck yeah. Yes, processed food is not great, but... That said, I love it.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation, including
cocaine.
Heroin. Okay, yeah.
See? Okay.
People like, you eat so much beef, it's so bad for you. I'm like, I don't know. I think quality is really important.
I love beef.
Yeah. And I eat it about people are like, you eat it all the time. I'm like, it's about every 2 weeks.
Is it really?
I don't eat it as much as everyone.
What do you eat more?
I eat a lot of fish and vegetables. And right now I'm starving myself to get ready for Crime Scene, as I talked about for Crime Scene Kitchen.
Have you heard of Ozempic?
I have a Ozempic smoothie. I inject myself with it. And God bless it. Everyone always makes fun of it, but I'm like, I know people that really have saved their lives. I talked to my doctor. I made some joke about it. And she was like, there are people that wake up and they're thinking they're already ravenous, and they're not just thinking about, they're already going to have breakfast, they're already thinking about lunch and
dinner.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm different. So
you know what?
God bless them.
No judgment.
God bless them. What's the best steakhouse or steak you've had in Portland?
Oh gosh. There
I don't know
a place.
You've only been there 9 months, so
called only 9 months. There is the food cart, the food truck. My God, the food trucks in Portland. There is a meat
truck,
a meat truck basically, and I wish I could remember the name of it. Jake's? No.
Jake's Meat Truck.
I will talk about it in the post
the liner
credits because it's phenomenal. We've had a lot of really good meat, a lot of really good barbecue. Matt's Barbecue. I just needed to say barbecue. Matt's Barbecue.
Let's go to Matt's Barbecue.
It's phenomenal barbecue.
And your husband's, I know I'm now just delaying. Oh, and he is from Vancouver?
He is from a tiny town in the interior of British Columbia called Invermere. Which is on the other side of the park from Calgary. So you drive through the national park, which is like Banff, you drive through that park and you're on Invermere on the other side, Banff and Calgary on the Calgary side.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
so
he likes Portland?
He is much happier in Portland than he was in Los Angeles.
All right. Well then, God, happy husband, happy life.
Do you get up to Washington for Seahawks games?
I do.
We should go to a Seahawks game.
Yes. This fall.
I love it.
I will get tickets.
I am there.
I'll bring my 16-year-old is Yes, I have indoctrinated him
Have you?
with this. We won the Super Bowl in 2014 when they were pretty little. So it was like,
Huge.
it was like Christmas.
Huge.
And I went to that Super Bowl.
Did you really?
I was like, I'm experiencing such joy right now. I'm a little weirded out by it.
Like you don't know what to do with yourself. It's fine. You've had 10 years to level out.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
But there are teams that have never won a Super Bowl.
And never been.
Yeah. Or ever been close.
Yeah. Or
So-
you're the Bills and you've gotten close numerous
So many times.
and-
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a good season.
Yeah. New coach.
I know.
We had a real good coach. So
We did.
good luck to you, Seahawks.
It's fine.
Are you a Mariners fan?
I don't like baseball.
All right.
I find it really boring.
You got to go to a game.
I went to a game and I sat next to one of my dad's best friends, who's like an encyclopedia. Watching a game with him was amazing because he helped me understand the players. And once I understood the players, I was emotionally invested and then I enjoyed baseball.
All right.
So I need to go with someone that actually,
And then the Trailblazers?
huge basketball fan.
Yeah.
We don't have hockey teams. I would love a hockey team that wasn't a minor team.
We got the NHL team in Seattle now, the Kraken.
Oh, you guys have a Kraken,
Yeah.
don't you?
And they sold out. Yeah. It was like Seattle, I think Seattle, Portland, when people look, Boston's the greatest sports town. I was like, fuck you. We're the greatest sports town.
It's true. You guys
and LA
are.
is the greatest sports
And
town.
we are by way proxy because Portland is not the greatest. It's too small. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny town.
But they love the Trailblazers.
That's because it's all we have.
Right. And then you got your Ducks.
Our Ducks and our Beavers.
Whatever.
That's it.
Go Huskies.
Thank you for doing this, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
This has been really wonderful. I've enjoyed it.
Good luck on editing this down.
Glad I figured out how we finally know each other.
Random universal Comcast parties, something.
By way of
events.
2006. Probably.
Yeah, literally.
You
Fuck.
guys.
Yeah. Take something. Take some of them.
Take something. Take some Dos Equis on the way out the door.
I got a Dos Equis
If I
sign.
walked to my car in a football helmet, you know it was a good day.
Yeah, I have a Dos Equis football helmet. Whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye. Thanks, Katie.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Hindsight. I'm Katee Sackhoff. Oh my God. And with me is Jeff and Casper, as usual, keeping me on the rails.
We'll keep this one short so we don't lose you forever.
Oh my God, you guys. We went to Vegas and we'll talk about Joel in a second.
Yeah, do you want to make a more formal announcement about this, or?
Yeah, I mean, like we'll talk about it a bit. I do. We'll get into it more when my husband is actually with me, so he can participate in this. But
What is he doing right now? He's busy doing something?
yeah, I think he's been literally holding down the fort for 2 days of me in bed, and now there's not one child, not one, not just we're not just the lucky parents of a 2.5-year-old demon, but also a brand new baby boy who is literally, I mean, so easy at this point. He just, shits, eats, and sleeps. But I have been so sick, I'm scared to go near either one of them because, I don't know, one's brand new.
Yeah.
One is, in treatment for her cancer. So I don't want to get either one of them sick.
So Robin's busy.
Robin's a little busy right now.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Katie.
Thank
very
you, guys.
exciting.
It's pretty awesome. We named him Granger Oaks.
Whoa. Does that come from
Yeah.
something?
Well, my husband is obsessed with Harry Potter.
Oh.
So, not the movies, the books.
Mhm.
Our daughter Ginevra was actually named after Ginny Weasley, who
Oh,
in
wow.
the books they call her Ginevra one time. And I always wanted to name my kids like weird names because I grew up fucking Katie
Mhm.
and like had to change the spelling of it just so I wasn't like Katie S my whole life because I went to
Yeah.
grade school with like 5 other Katies.
I did the same thing.
Oh my God, it's awful, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, Jeff. It's
Yeah.
a pretty common name.
Jeff, I grew up with a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I changed the spelling of mine too.
Did you?
Yeah, JEPH.
I was going to question if it was like, because, Jeff with a G. We know those guys,
Yeah.
the Goffs guys.
Geoffs.
The Geoffs. So when did you change the spelling of your name?
I was a freshman in high school, and it was a
Oh.
joke that took off.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mine, I was 11, and I told my parents I was going to be famous, and that IE didn't serve me. So
Did not serve me.
So I changed it to EE. My mother helped me come up with all these different spellings of Katee, because she said, you can do whatever you want to Katee. It's not your legal name. Catherine is your legal name.
Oh.
And so I spelled it EE, and it took people probably 2 years to start spelling it that way. And now it's just the way it's spelled.
Did you ever legally change it?
No, because it's not legal anywhere. So the
Right.
moment I showed up, like in California, which would probably be the most my name was ever anywhere, it was already EE. So it's always been
Right.
that. So we wanted to name kids weird names, and we thought we were going to call her Gigi, so I wanted a G name, and he thought Ginevra was not weird. Or unique, not
Mhm.
weird. But he didn't think Ginevra was unique because he'd seen it so much, and to him it was normal. And I was like, are you sure? Because I love it. And then we ended up calling her Ginny, which is even more Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So Granger's obviously Harry Potter as well because of Hermione.
Right. Very
So,
cool. It's a good name.
yeah. It's a cute name. It's really
Yeah.
funny. It's at least a name now where people don't go, what? What did you say? Generva?
They're going to be the only one in their class that has the name, so
It's
that'll
true.
be good.
It's true. And oaks, just because we like oak trees. We had an oak tree at our house in Los Angeles. We have an oak tree here in Portland. And we like oaks. So we
Oaks
thought
are the best, yeah.
they're super strong and, beautiful trees. So yeah. So anyway, so he's here. And
That's
I
great.
am, the moment he arrived, I got sick in the hospital. The moment. So I had a mask on from the moment he was born. He has not seen my face. Not that he could see my face anyway. But
Right.
so yeah, it's been a beautiful, beautiful, interesting experience, which we'll go into more when my husband's around. But thank you guys. It's been really awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
It's been really wonderful. Okay, back to Joel. He's hysterical.
Yeah, he's great. We've had him on other shows that I have done before, and I'm disappointed you did not get more into his knife collection. I know you mentioned his sword collection, but he is an avid knife collector as well.
Is he really? You guys, the room that we were in, I just sort of want to like set it up for you. It was like a pool house, and it was filled with free shit. Like just like a bunch of shit that brands send you
Yeah.
everywhere. Plus like little models and like games and a desk, like he's, because he works in there as well. And, it was like filled with beer and like it was just like, it was like a catch-all of free stuff. Like obviously his wife's like, get it out of the house. And he's like, great, I'll go put it in my office. And so
Right.
it's just filled with stuff. So, there could have been a knife collection right in front of me. I wouldn't have seen it.
Well, next time you're hanging out, ask him.
I will. He and I, after that interview, we both kind of looked at each other and I was like, I feel like we were separated at birth because we have so much in common and we just really, really flowed. Like the interview flowed. He was so welcoming. I was telling you that I auditioned to play an animal in Animal Control when I was eating a biscuit in his kitchen beforehand, and it was kind of joking, but I was like eating
What
a
kind
biscuit.
of animal?
Probably a chipmunk.
Chipmunk,
Like I
right.
was stuffing my cheeks it was like the best biscuit ever. Like Joel McHale doesn't play around when it comes to food, by the way. Like he's not going to hand you like a packaged biscuit and be like, here you go. No, he's
Right.
going to make you an espresso like the old fashioned way and hand you like a freshly baked biscuit from one of like the best bakeries in the area and be like, welcome to my house. And he joked when I reached out to him and I was like, can I come to your house? And he's like, I'm a little embarrassed, it's so small. 10,000 square feet is like really, it's just like, it's the guest house. We had to move in, but we had this whole hysterical repertoire going where he was joking about the tennis court. And I thought he was kidding, but he legitimately has a tennis court, you guys. I was like, where did you find this house? It's amazing. It's like a double lot. It's gorgeous. And his wife is just like impeccable taste, taste. It is one of the most beautifully decorated homes I've ever been into, other than Troy Baker as well. I mean, Jesus. Yeah. I mean, just gorgeous homes. I'm loving going into people's houses. It's so much fun.
Yeah, just getting some inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have a tennis court up there?
What's funny is I went down yesterday to see if we could fit one in our yard. I don't play tennis. I just wanted to know if we could. No, we can't. We can't. No. We could fit a pool, but not a tennis court. Maybe a pickleball court.
Maybe.
Not as cool.
Not as well. Please, Casper. Pickleball's the rage. It is the rage.
Yeah, it is.
Didn't you see Dax and Kristen are like playing pickleball now?
In terms of status, though, you need to have a tennis court. It's bigger. It's more fancy. Pickleball, come on.
It's true. It's true because you can't turn a pickleball court into a tennis court. But if you have a tennis court,
there you go.
have both.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's just fancy rich bitch shit. It's true. I love when I don't know how I know somebody and then they remind me of it because I have a terrible memory. And Joel reminded me of how I was at an event with Trisha Helfer, and he literally did like accost us and talk about how much he loved Battlestar Galactica. And so many people do this. That's what's so cool. Gary Oldman did that with me.
Wow.
And I was like, look at Gary Oldman.
Did you also audition for him then?
God, I tried to sell my soul to him. When I first started in this industry, my bucket list was to work with Gary Oldman. He is to me like the best actor in the world. Yeah. I think he is just phenomenal.
Pretty good. And still working, so.
And still working. I know. I'm dying.
And Harry Potter, so.
God.
All that.
It all comes back to Harry Potter.
What house are you guys, by the way, Katee? You and Robin?
So our kids are Dumbledore?
I don't think that's a house.
That's a guy.
That's the wizard who runs the school.
I know that. What's the Ginny Weasley?
Somewhere I bet Robin's ears are just burning right now. And he's
Hey Robin.
Yeah, this is even worse than the Canada stuff.
What house are our children?
Yeah, you're gonna get so much.
What house are our children?
We won't know until they're 11.
Until the Sorting Hat comes out, right?
Until the Sorting Hat comes out. I told you guys this is my sweet hell. It is literally my sweet hell. I just put wallpaper up in the bedroom and he was like, I thought you were getting Harry Potter wallpaper. I was like, it's bad enough we named him Granger. He's getting woodland animals. Leave me alone. So, Joel, have you guys seen his Instagram at all?
Probably, but I don't know what you're referring to.
So, I think his goal is to offend vegans.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
There is meat everywhere. Like if you are of the vegan or vegetarian persuasion, do not follow Joel McHale unless you can find the humor in it. Because he is obsessed with food and he loves meat. And so every time I click on his stories, I get hungry because I'm like, we need a steak. This man has the best food in the world, like at his fingertips. Like I want to be his child.
You can just be his friend too.
Or that, guys.
That's a great point, Jeff.
Touche, Jeff. Touche. You don't need to. This is my problem. I go head first.
Yeah.
I just throw the whole kit and caboodle in, and just.
Well, when you say child, it just implies that you want Joel McHale to be your daddy, which has a different connotation.
He is a good-looking man.
He's a good-looking man.
He is a good-looking man. He is arguably, and I am happily married, as is he, but I can appreciate handsome. He is better looking in person than he is on camera.
He's also very charming too.
He is a good looking, charming man.
Do you think he would get away with having a knife collection if he wasn't so handsome?
Like if he looked like Dahmer? God, Dahmer was cute though.
Okay.
Wasn't he?
Let's go there.
Isn't Dahmer one of the cute ones? Like there's a lot of really good looking, handsome, persuasive
Well, yeah, I mean,
serial killers.
that's a part of the gig, but there's also
part of the
quite a
shtick.
few that are not good looking.
That's true. That's true. You know what? We're going to not try and offend everyone today.
We don't want to offend a serial killer, so.
Are there any
stop.
Canadian serial killers?
Yeah. There's
I'm sure
there's
there
that guy from Vancouver that killed a bunch of people.
Oh, there's also the kid from Vancouver that like just killed his mom too, like the actor. There's some crazy shit up in
Right.
Canada.
All right, we're gonna stop on Canada.
But Canada likes to, this is the thing. Canada likes to pretend like they're so much better than the United States. Like all my Canadian friends are like, Canada's so much better. And I'm like, you all have just as much shit as we do. Y'all complain about your fucking healthcare all the time. You got serial killers. I think that the alt-right guy, like the crazy guy is from Vancouver. The guy that started not the Proud Boys.
One of them. Yeah.
One of them. So y'all got your shit. Like, don't rag on us. Like you point a finger at us, there's 3 pointed back at you, Canada.
We didn't even try to bring up Canada, and it just came up.
Yeah, the funny thing is Canada has taken no shots back at you. They're just being like, okay, sorry.
No, because they're too polite. They say sorry.
The thing I thought was interesting about Joel that I wanted to ask you about was you guys had a small discussion about this stigma of TV actors versus film actors and how that's not really true anymore. I guess I was more interested in just, you think that's a result of television getting better, or is that a result of movies getting worse?
Gosh, I think it's a combination of the two. I still do believe this to a certain extent that television actors are pigeonholed to a certain extent. I even had my manager say to me the other day, like, you haven't really done film. Mm-hmm. So, film is like, you're not as well known in film. So it's almost like starting over again in that arena. And I was like, God, it still exists.
But you have done film.
Yeah, I mean, I have. It's just like it's more consistently I do television. And so I think you are right though. I think that it's a combination. I think that more phenomenal TV is getting made. They're putting more money into TV than they've ever done before. It's more easily accessible to the world and not just your region. And I think that they are making less films. It's so expensive to put a film into theaters that I think that studios are looking at it going like, why would we do that when we can just, save ourselves, the publicity and advertising fees and all of this stuff and just put it on streaming. And so I think that it's becoming a little less. It is becoming a little less just in time for there to be no work for anyone. Woohoo!
Yeah, that is a weird backlash that's happening right now. Seems like everybody's talking about it.
Everyone knows, I must know 10 actors that are phenomenal working actors that have been working for many, many years who can't get jobs right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Do you think that's a result of the strike or something else?
I think, yes. I think that the strike was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. Because it lasted as long as it did. But I also think that studios have realized that there wasn't as much money in streaming as they were projecting. And so we sort of were going through this golden age in television where everyone was working. I mean, and I think we touched on this a little bit in another interview where I said, like, you could just like decide to be an actor, never leave your home in Wisconsin and like, send in a tape and all of a sudden you're, on a show. That didn't used to be the way that it was. I mean, I'm great for that person. That's awesome. But it used to be that like you had to move your life to LA or New York, like make a go at it, like really make yourself seen and do the rounds and do all of these things. And this golden age happened where there was just so much content and not enough actors in either one of these places that they started auditioning worldwide for parts more regularly anyway. They always sort of did that. And so it was crazy. There was so much work. But I remember what it was like back in 1994 to 2000. Battlestar ended in 2008. Longmire. So probably like 2012 was when this whole thing started. So I remember what those years were like between that, where you were really lucky. If you got an audition, you were lucky. And that's sort of what it's like again. You've got even Joel McHale was talking about that, how he was asked to put himself on tape and he was like, yeah, I don't know if I need to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I do, Joel. I do, because I don't have a tennis court yet.
Exactly.
So I do.
Well, he's got that network TV show,
He does. And he also, this is the thing that I think we also touched on this the other day, that I think everyone is realizing in this industry, that diversifying yourself as an actor, as a performer, is going to benefit everyone. Doing voiceover work, doing hosting, doing podcasting, doing books on tape, like whatever it is you can do, going to conventions, like whatever you can do to sort of keep working and keep your name out there to get through this adjustment period is the smart thing to do. Do you guys do Lego?
Used to when I was a child.
Not since I was a kid, yeah.
Were you like proficient at Lego?
I don't think so, no.
I won like a lamp at Legoland for building a Lego car. So I was pretty damn good.
Casper, that does not surprise me. It does not surprise me that you did. Joel's son is like a savant at Lego. Their living room is full of these grandmaster-sized Lego things that he'll put together in like a day, half a day. He is a phenomenal mind. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. He's got like, just like anything you can think of, like that huge Titanic that's like 10,000 pieces, that thing. And I think they said he put it together like in a day or 2 days.
So is he a model guy or a freestyler?
Both.
Whoa.
Both. And the fact that you know that, Casper, answers my original question.
Yeah.
So he will buy the kits. He'll do his thing. Or they'll buy, I'm assuming they've got some kits. But then he also goes to the wall, where you can just buy a ton of rando blocks and put anything together. He is truly talented at Lego. It's amazing.
On his way to being an engineer, maybe.
Yeah, right?
Or working for Lego.
Yeah. And then on the way out, Joel showed me his wine collection. And then I realized I needed to be adopted by him or just be his friend. He has so much wine that he had just sold a bunch of bottles because he needed to make room for more wine. He has so much wine that restaurants buy his wine.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Is there anything that he wasn't good at or interesting?
No. Can you tell I'm in love with Joel? I literally walked out of the interview, called my husband, and I was like,
yeah,
he's the full package.
Yeah.
He's the full package. As are you, honey. As are you. As are you. I was also really impressed that he and his wife, they've been married for 30 years,
That's true. Yeah, that's wild.
Wild. And from such a young age.
I mean, wild for the business. You go anywhere else and it's not that wild.
No, it's true. Well, and he says as much, where he was like, that 50% is 50% everywhere, not just in our industry, Yeah. But meeting anyone that's sort of like my age that's been married 30 years is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Anyway, I don't know. I thought he was phenomenal. I'm trying to remember. I listened to this episode last night in a haze of migraine, and there were things I wanted to talk about, and I don't remember what they were.
Yeah, you guys had a pretty wide-ranging conversation that you tend to have with everybody, but it was still very interesting just to hear his perspective. Because, even though you've spoken to a lot of people in similar situations, everybody has their own perspective on it, which is, it's not like the same experience for every person.
Yeah.
Like Troy had a completely different perspective on this. Seth had a different perspective. Kevin had a wildly different perspective. Ming-Na, it's just because everybody has different experiences and they take away different things from it, which is why it's interesting.
Well, that's the beautiful thing, right? Is that, no two people are going to have the same reaction to something because you bring in, like you said, your life experiences and to that one moment. And so everybody has a different reaction to something.
Yeah.
I've said this so many times that having a sick child either brings you closer to God or pulls you away from it. It's the same thing. It's just the same situation has a different reaction and a different effect on different people.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
On that note, I want to get into the bag or the comments. Let's look at some comments. So Sean Prosser 5420 said, I'm just going to pee on Robin in the shower. And a whole new Reddit subthread is born. Yeah. Sometimes I say things and I don't really think of how it's going to be taken.
Maybe we should be better editors.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. When Robin saw that Casper left that in the edit, he goes, I knew I liked that guy.
I mean, let's normalize pissing on each other.
I mean, we should. Thank you, Casper. Look at Jeff. He's like,
You're
oh my
welcome.
God. Katee, you pulled him down to our level.
So conservative, Jeff.
Not because I'm against it. It's just because the people who like it don't want it to be normal. They like that it's not normal.
Oh.
See, the moment
you're
you
next
make it
level.
pedestrian, all of a sudden people aren't into it anymore.
Let's not normalize it. Let's keep it special.
I saw this thing on Instagram the other day. Like some person commented on something on the Sackhoff show. And I clicked on it to be like, who is this person? And they had like 6 pictures up. And they were all like, just like pictures of himself. But he had on no shoes in all of the pictures, which I didn't see anything. I just saw a guy like on the beach, right? And all of the comments, there were like 20 comments to each picture. Every comment was, ooh, feet. I like your feet. I like your feet. And I was like, oh my God, I thought it was just like people were obsessed with like pretty feet, not like the male foot.
Sometimes the grosser the foot, people like it.
Why?
Really? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, there's like foot fetishes where people are like squeezing their feet through like mud and raw meat and stuff like that. I don't know. People are into whatever they're into.
Well, that is the subtext is gross, not the foot.
I guess that's true. I don't know.
Have you ever
Right?
checked your foot rating, Katee? I bet you have one.
I have at one point looked it up and it was, I don't want it. I mean, it's
What
so
was it?
gross to me.
Like
I don't remember what it was.
6.8. Like,
I was over average, Casper.
oh, sorry.
Over average, but under perfect.
A fun fact about me is that my dog is on that foot fetish website
What?
because we have a friend who's on there who I won't mention their name, but the picture they used of them is them sitting on my couch with my dog. And they've got their feet like right at the camera, bare feet right at the
Yes.
camera. And they used this picture of them. And so my dog is on whatever that foot website is.
I thought you were going to say your dog's feet have been so prevalent in social media that they were
Yeah,
had a
no.
rating.
I don't even think my dog's feet are in it. I mean,
Just your dog?
just my dog.
I love it. I love it. All right. Guogs says, as a musician, I always want to record my first take. Definitely frustrating when you kill it, then the engineer goes, okay, let's record now. Yeah, I agree. What was this from? What is this in
I
reference
think this is
to?
in reference to you saying you like to use the first take or whatever.
Oh yeah. It's true. It's I always like that. I like the spontaneity that is the first take. I have worked with directors, however, that like to break you down by doing so many takes that you give up and then you become almost uninhibited again, and spontaneous again with the boredom of the repetition of the scene. But yeah, I agree with that. This person, HNHL2770 says, Mary's such a good actress for real, super nuanced. She's able to express so much without using words and through her use of her voice, truly a master of her craft. And she's looking so good. I agree. You guys, I think Mary McDonald is a piece of ass.
In the good way, right?
Yes. Right? Like
Yeah.
she's bringing sexy back.
Oh, yeah. I've always found her very beautiful.
She's always been beautiful, but I love that she's like leaning in to aging. You can say that. I mean, that's not to say that she doesn't want to look good. Mary takes care of herself. You know, she really takes care of herself. But I love that she's embracing this sort of like divine feminine energy that seems very wild. I love that. It's beautiful. Someone just said, totally curious if anyone knows which competitive swimming strokes Mary and Katee used to swim. I was a breaststroker, and I believe that Mary was a backstroker. I believe. I might be talking out of school, but I was a breaststroker, and it was the only stroke I really knew how to swim, and I was quite good at it.
Are there any swimming styles that are like slept on in the swimming community?
So, I mean, breaststroke is the only stroke that you can actually swim whilst being lazy. Like a bad swimmer can breaststroke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A bad swimmer cannot butterfly.
Right. I was going to say butterfly seems like the coolest out of all the styles.
I mean, I guess maybe a bad swimmer could back crawl, but not really. And I call it back crawl because that's what a bad swimmer would do. They wouldn't do backstroke. But I do think that, so there's the difference with breaststrokers is that you can be a bad breaststroker and still swim the stroke. But the moment you find the timing of breaststroke, because there's a very, very clear timing to excelling at it, the moment you find that timing, it's all over. And it's like, I mean, there is a timing that is like, it's like so fast. And like, you want, everyone thinks that the arms and the legs move at the same time. They're actually moving slightly separate. Mm-hmm. And it's such a beautiful stroke when you figure it out.
I just do the, whatever
dog
you
paddle?
call that one.
Freestyle.
Not the dog paddle, freestyle, yeah.
Freestyle. Yeah. That's a good one.
My girlfriend was a competitive swimmer, and every time I go swimming with her, I end up having to sit on the sidelines after a little while. She just smokes me.
She does?
Yeah.
She likes to compete with you?
No, it's just, we'll do like lap or 6th or 7th. She's like, come on, now we're going to move. That was just the first leg. And now we're going to, I'm like, that was the first leg.
Yeah. People who swim are a different breed because it comes so easily. Chris McHale, Chris, you wrote us a song. You wrote us a song about the Mailsack.
Yeah, I don't think we need to read the whole thing, but I think we just wanted to call out Chris for the effort here.
I think so too. Thank you for stopping me from reading the whole thing. I just want to read the first verse. Hey there, friend. What's that you lack? The postman's here with his big mail sack. Stuffed to the brim. It's quite a sight. Delivering packages all day and night. Sort of like Santa.
Yeah, it sounds like a Christmas song. That's what I was going to say.
Doesn't it sort of sound?
Except for big mail sack, but...
Well,
he
that
does
leads
have
us,
a big mail sack.
That leads us into, speaking of Santa, Nicolas from Germany actually sent us something.
Nicolas sent us something. Are we going to play it?
Here we go.
Mailsack, we're going to the Mailsack. Mailsack, why are we calling it Mailsack?
When you sent this to me, I thought Casper wrote it. It has a Eurovision feel to it,
Yeah,
right?
no, the Euro thing.
He's
Yeah, and he's
German.
from Germany, so there you go.
Right.
I think, nice job, Nicolas. I thought that's really good.
Oh, really good, yeah.
I really liked it. I laughed my ass off. I was like, oh my God, you guys. It's like taken on a life of its own.
I do love in there, there's that very German, just you can hear, Katee. It just sounds very Kraftwerk.
It does. Oh my gosh. Oh my
Well, that
Lord.
brings us into the mail sack section.
It brings us into mail sack. You guys, let's enter the sack. We're gonna hop into the sack with Katee.
Somebody emailed us. We didn't include this, but somebody did suggest we just call it "That's What's Up."
I mean, I kind of like That's What's Up. You guys, I figured out who says That's What's Up. Came to me in the middle of the night, like a week
In
ago.
a
when I
fever
went,
dream.
That's who it is. So one of the makeup artists on Mandalorian, this amazing man named Alexi, who is like phenomenally fucking talented, says That's What's Up all the time. And I figured it out. So thanks, Lexi. There you go. That's what's up. I knew it would catch on.
It's not copyrighted, is it?
Could you imagine if it was?
It's owned by Disney.
Oh my God. That's just what I need. All right, let's get in the sack. Kate, I'd love to know if you'd ever cringe at some of the horror movie stuff you had to say during your horror era, and if you'd ever go back to making them. I love that I had an era.
You did a couple of them.
I did a lot back to back.
Yeah.
Most of the movies I've done have been horror movies.
Your first movie was a horror movie, right? Halloween?
Halloween. Yeah. Well, the first movie I did was a Lifetime movie called 15 and Pregnant, which also is a horror film.
Yeah, horror in a certain way.
Me and Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I make it sound like I was like a lead in that. I had one scene, but it did get me my SAG card. I love horror films. I would love to do more. I'm in the process of bribing Mike Flanagan with, any more of the children I may have. I've got some frozen embryos left. I'm just kidding. You can't have them, you guys. That's gross.
That's a rumor right now. Mike Flanagan is only paid in embryos. That's what everybody in Hollywood, or they think's going on in Hollywood anyway.
Oh my God, they do. You guys, that's just what I need is for people to be like, I knew it. She's drinking adrenochrome. I don't even know what it is. The blood of children?
Any genres you wouldn't touch, Katee?
God, I don't know. I don't think so. Why? Is there a weird subgenre that I don't know about?
Probably, but you don't do a ton of comedy though, do you? I mean, you do outside of Robot Chicken, but
yeah, I just don't get hired for it. You know what it is that I have a hard time auditioning for comedy because I'm not a comedy actor per se. And so I'll get these comedy sides and I will do the comedy the way that I think is funny. And then my husband will always say to me when he's like helping me put myself on tape, he's like, ooh, that feels a bit this or a bit that. And he's like, you're trying to be funny. Stop trying to be funny. And I'm like, I don't know how to be in a comedy and not try and be funny. And he's like, but you're funny. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And it's funny to hear Joel say that I am too. So I just don't know how to be comfortable in comedy. So I never book it.
maybe something will happen.
Maybe.
Somebody's going to hear this and have the perfect idea for you.
I mean, I did do an episode of Workaholics where I played a drug-addicted homeless person that Adam's character takes to a wedding because I fit in his ex-girlfriend's dress and they just broke up and he needs to find someone that fits in the dress. And so he takes this crazy homeless girl.
I feel like I've seen every episode of that show and I don't remember that, but
It's really funny. She's like sleeping under cardboard boxes at the wedding.
so you got it in you. I mean, that and the Robot Chicken character are pretty similar. Maybe you just have a type.
I like physical comedy. I grew up like obsessed with Lucille Ball. So I like the kind of comedy where like you fall over yourself. I don't really do like the sort of like say funny stuff comedy.
Yeah.
But if you want me to fall downstairs and like, be a weirdo, that's the kind of stuff that I love. I love that. So Dylan says, I can't wait for you guys to do something touching more on the surrogacy side of things, and congratulations on another little one. Thanks, Dylan. From what you've touched on so far, it seems you've had a positive experience as intended parents, and I'm excited to hear your perspective. My wife was a surrogate, and while the process was, different, I personally took issue with some verbiage in the contract that seemingly treated my wife as my property, but I digress. I'm excited for your perspective. We'll get into all of this at some point at much more in depth. But the surrogacy industry has the ability to be very ugly because you're dealing with desperation, if that makes sense. You're dealing with people who so desperately want to be parents. So it's very easy to take advantage of that side of things. It's also very easy to take advantage of the surrogate side of things because these are women that I've met. The women that I've met are all incredibly good people. And there is a beautiful altruistic bone to them where they just want to help a family have a baby. That also can be taken advantage of because there are so many people surrounding the surrogacy industry, like lawyers and agencies and brokers and the doctors and this. There are so many people making so much money off of surrogacy. And at its core, it stems from something very beautiful. And my husband and I are forever indebted and just so grateful to these two women who have given us our children. And I say given us, someone's going to take that out of context. You know, our children are my eggs and his sperm. So they are our genetic children. Some are not, some are. Like, it is a very beautiful thing. But I do believe there needs to be some regulation in place to keep it honest, if that makes sense. So Dylan, I hope that your wife had a beautiful surrogacy journey. But yeah, it is, you're right. And let's be honest here, Dylan, any legal contract is going to be hard to read when there's an emotional component to it, because the legal contract does not take emotion into it. It is a legal binding agreement that quite literally takes all emotion out of it to protect everyone. So I completely understand how your contract could have seemed hard to read or rubbed you the wrong way. Absolutely. Especially if I'm not necessarily speaking of you, but if you're not a person who is used to reading contracts all the time, it's hard to digest a business contract when you are emotionally invested. It is hard. But, you know, we're so blessed that surrogacy exists, that it is legal in our country, in most states, and that women's reproductive rights are safe in so many states still, because surrogacy is just one of those things that it's one of the areas that is falling victim to women's reproductive rights being attacked. And I am completely against it. Yeah. Well, we can also get into that more some other time as well. But yeah, protect women's rights.
Agreed. When you guys are all back up on your feet and feeling better, I think having Robin on and you guys discussing your journey and that would be really cool to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love that. I have a text message from Sam Witwer. You guys need to go to Sam Witwer's Instagram account right now, at Sam Witwer 1, SWITWER, the number 1, because Sam paints miniatures. And last night at 9 p.m., he sent me a text message. No, it was 3:30 p.m. I've been out of it for a few days. He sent me bo-katan's finished painted miniature. And it's on his Instagram. And he is so flippin' talented. It's just beautiful. So anyway, that was in my phone. I just wanted to point that out to everyone because he was on the show. I'm looking to see what I booked a movie. Guys,
Whoa.
I'm doing a movie in New Mexico the whole month of August.
Very cool.
Super excited.
Where in New Mexico, if I can ask?
I don't know.
What's the genre?
Sci-fi.
Cool.
It's cool.
A first for you.
Exactly. You know, I just consider myself lucky to have booked a job right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's and some cool people are involved and I'm excited.
Nice.
But the next thing I have is not till October. So it was just announced that I am doing the Battlestar Galactica reunion Comic-Con in Chicago. And my entire fee is going to a charity focused in children's pediatric cancer right now. So I'm really excited about that. I'm only going to be there on Friday. We'll announce that as we get closer. But that is that's all in October. I have nothing coming up. Nothing.
And if people want to reach out to us again,
go to the Mailsack. I'm just kidding. We should maybe call it the Mailsack at gmail.com. No, it is the Sackhoff Show at gmail.com. Send your emails, send your songs, send everything. Because we read it all and it's quite hysterical.
I feel like it would be fun if we had some kind of specific prompt for people. But I'm totally unprepared for that. So I don't know if there's anything you want to.
You mean like what to send me? Like
a weird question or something like that.
Oh, yeah, we should. What is the weird question?
It would be cool if it was something like, like we talked about horror movies today and whether or not you wanted to get into do more horror movies or something like that. I think it would be interesting to know what type of movies or television shows people would like to see you be a part of.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. I like that.
Either existing shows or new shows, I guess.
Or give me a 1-sentence pitch of like a new show.
There you go. There you go.
Or a new character. That
Yeah.
would be fun. Let's do that.
Yeah, so send an email to the sackhoffshow@gmail.com and tell us what TV show you would like to see Katee be a part of.
That was awesome. You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to Joel. Thank you for coming for the Hindsight. As always, I appreciate you. And we will see you next Tuesday. That's what's up.